Dude, that is a green whale. Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about topwater, one of my favorite things to throw this time of year, especially in this summer heat. Topwater is absolutely one of the best things you can throw this time of year. I mean, the draw power on this, especially these bigger topwater baits, is pretty undeniable. And also, there's just a lot of things and a lot of misconceptions about this thing that we're going to go over today and hopefully change your mind about when, where, and why you're going to throw topwater. If you followed me or listened to me on Fishing the DMV, you know I have a big obsession with this big boy right here. This 1.5 to 2 ounce giant walking bait. This is a KVD Sexy Mega Dog by Strike King. And this bait has caught me some absolute giants, some absolute numbers, and saved my ass a few times. One of the most common misconceptions when you hear about pressured fish and fish that see a lot of baits is downsizing. Yes, that can absolutely help, but one of the most powerful ways to get draws and get more bites is by actually upsizing. I know that sounds a little bit contrary to maybe anything you've heard before or what you've read in a magazine, but I promise you, upsizing can be just as powerful, if not more powerful, for bigger bites on pressured fish. Let's talk about where I'm fishing this. So this time of year, I'm really looking for schools, groups of fish, brush piles, drops, or even individual fish that I can throw this thing over. I've seen the draw power on this thing, and it has pulled fish up from, deep. I've had fish from 20 foot deep come up just to smack this thing. And that's when you know you're dealing with a bait that has a lot of draw power and shows a lot of interest. Okay, so cadence. How do we work this thing? How do we fish it? You know, a lot of people have a tendency to fish this bait very, very slow. Sometimes that is the ticket. Sometimes some quick pops, a pause, and then quick pops. But a lot of the times, burning this thing. Sometimes just reeling it on the surface, not even really walking it, or a fast, super aggressive walk does a great job of mimicking a herring or a larger bait fish trying to get away from predators. Fish get competitive over this thing, especially when you throw it over to school. That's one of the great things about it. I don't know how many times we've had double ups or we've had the biggest fish in a school come up and nail this thing. I've seen this thing outperform little Kitechs on schools and things like that, where fish will just kind of act like they're going to hit it but not commit. And then you throw this thing over there and it starts basically a frenzy or opens up a feeding window. And this is one of the first baits that I'm throwing during a feeding window. You'll be able to figure out what a feeding window is, especially on live scope, just because the activity of the fish is way, way more high than what it was. You'll also get a lot more bites, a lot more commitments. You'll probably see a lot more surface activity, so keep an eye out for that. Also, this time of year, common misconception that you have to go super deep. Really, fish this time of year, especially with how hot it is, a lot of them will move up shallower just based on the oxygen levels in the water. And so keep an eye out for that. Largemouth and striper push bait up very shallow on flats and other things that are close to creek channels and deeper water this time of year very often. Let's talk about when to throw this. Because one of the biggest misconceptions and the thing that I want to hammer home for you is that people seem to think topwater means early morning, late evening, or night. And I'm going to tell you that is the biggest misconception and so untrue, it's not even funny. This time of year, bluebird skies, 2 p.m., you can get bites on this and good bites. Another thing to look out for is thunderstorms, prefrontal systems, especially during a major, big storm systems coming in. Fishing before that storm fires them up, and this is usually the first bait that I'm presenting fish during that prefrontal or big storm moving in. The summertime and the storm thing is one of my favorite things. Chasing storms and catching fish. Be safe, but it is a lot of fun. I definitely recommend giving it a try. Alright, so last we're going to talk about the gear. What do you throw this big thing with? It's a little too big to throw with, a regular topwater rod. I have a couple variations, but I like to stick to a 7.2 to a 7.4 medium action with 30 to 40 pound straight braid. That way, you're not going to worry about flinging this thing and it flying off or losing fish or anything. And one of the keys too is when you get a bite on this, just cranking them in, not really letting them fight off too much. That's when you're going to lose fish, when you're really trying to work them. Think of it like a big swim bait bite or something. You're really just grinding that fish and getting it in quick. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. For the rest of the summer, have this thing on board, throw it out there. Doesn't matter the time of day. I think you're going to be pretty surprised, and let me know how it does for you.